Greetings from the Erie Coast. This is Matt Shad. This is another episode of the Zoot Report, Sunroof edition. Yeah, wow. It is Friday, folks. Friday. So, Tomcat. I love you, Tomcat. We love you, Tomcat. Tomcat, we love you. Alright? We love you. So, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I guess, I got so many, things in my head right now. My mind is squirrel. My mind is a focused squirrel. That's running zigzag patterns and circles. There's hope, man. There's hope. There's always hope. There's always hope, right? That's why we get up in the morning. That's why we continue to do something to give our life purpose. What is the meaning of life? It's an age-old question. Is it 42? 42. I don't know. I mean, 4, 5, 6. 6 is the mothering type of nurturing aspect. Okay, boom. All right. If you go with the Pythagoras method, okay, cool. Be nurturing, being caring, to all things, I guess. Hope. There's always hope. Being of service, being of purpose, having a purpose in life. We all need that, and I think that's why we get wrapped up in this idea of let's go to work. Let's go day in, day out. I mean, if we don't get a lot of we don't get the full rewards for our efforts. It gets taken away for whatever reason by governments, by other entities that just take your money and keep it because they're entitled or some shit. I don't know. So we only get 60% of our hard-earned money, fiat currency, debt currency. So, but we continue, we carry on, we endure tyranny. Man is more predisposed to endure tyranny than he is to fight it. You know that? We will suck it up. We will suck it up and keep going until it kills us. We do. I think that's where women come in. Because men, we're stubborn, right? We just nose to the grind, day in, day out. We do find ways to work smarter, not harder, mitigate the risk, whatever, but we still continuously just grind away at our lives, at our souls. We give meaning to it. We give meaning to the word hard work, dedication. We do that. That's what we do. Whereas, the woman's side is the nurturing side. They see that man, struggling every day to get out of bed, bones cracking, muscles not working, and they see that man. They're just like, this is pointless. You're going to die in 5 years. You're going to be crippled in a couple years. Why would you do this to yourself? Man never answers, but man knows it's for you, but it's for you, love. It's for you, babe. It's for you. It's for the kids. It's for everything. That's what we do. we just keep going. And if there's a smart way to do it, then we do it. But for the most part, we know that the perseverance, that the long game is where it's at. Every day we have to show up. Every day we have to, put out. We got to work hard. And all those things that come with it. We have to impress others with our abilities, with our output, and that's how we make our money. Whether we do that with ourselves, so you work for yourselves, or you work for a company or corporation or an employer. The only reason you're there is that they're impressed by you. Think of all the other dumbasses that came and went that didn't make it. They were not impressive. So men, we know that we gotta perform. We gotta push ourselves. We gotta be better than the next guy. Be indispensable. Be just a rock. Because you can be a badass and lift a lot of heavy things, and I've seen this where you literally had in manual labor you had these badass big guys that could just lift heavy things, do all this stuff, but by about after lunch they're useless, they're worthless, they're like fuck that, and don't even expect to get any kind of overtime out of them. I'm just saying, this is all like hypothetical. Whereas you got this old, grizzled, skinny ass, 60-year-old who can outperform anyone and has been doing it for 40, 50 years, right? He's putting that young bodybuilder to shame. Yeah, okay, you might be able to lift heavy things, pick heavy thing up, put heavy thing down, but you don't. They just don't have that longevity, nor do they care to push themselves. And something I learned, I guess, is Marine Corps. There's always something to do, always something to do. And any kind of work that you're doing, any kind of project, especially job. I mean, you could have meticulously built the flux capacitor, right? And then you're done. Now you got to clean up the mess. Now you got to test it. Now you got to I don't know, get rid of waste material. There's a lot to things, right? Nothing is actually ever done. And if you sell it, then you got to do the maintenance on it. And, maybe it's not your job, but you understand. There's lots that are involved. There's always something to do. And that's my point to life. The meaning of life is life has meaning because we give it meaning. We give it meaning. Life exists because there is meaning in it. I don't know. I mean, there is meaning. There is something. Like, you think about the underlying purpose of things. We're here to, most mammals are here to, mammals and reptilians, we breathe out carbon dioxide. We breathe in oxygen. The flora around us, they breathe our carbon dioxide, scrub and clean the air, and then give us oxygen. Not to mention food, medicinal things, and shelter, and I mean, wow, flora and fauna, right? Flora gives, raw materials to fauna. there is, that chain of purposeness, right? And like I said before, we are all meant to help each other. We have a purpose. We do. And if you're thinking about self-deleting, which I highly advise against it. Okay. From a metaphysical standpoint, as soon as you do it, you regret it immensely. I mean, death is death. But once you move on, because there's more to this world than just life. Right? There's other things that make this go, that drive this engine. And whether you believe in a higher power, whether you believe in God, I mean, whether you believe in, the one, the source, it all has this type of, cosmic meaning. And so self-deletion, I'd have to say, is a very selfish thing. It is. You're taking out the equation of you. How am I going to say this? You're missing the opportunity to help others. If you self-delete, that opportunity is gone. And you don't know when you're going to have to help. That's the thing. It doesn't just say, well, 5 years from now, I'm going to meet a woman that's, got a flat tire, and I'm just going to be driving by. And me helping her with that flat tire, and just doing the work and leaving, helped her from self-deleting because she's seeing hope in the world. She had hope for humanity. You understand? Life is cruel. Life is cruel. And whatever we can do to make it better is the real work. It really is. So yeah, self-deleting, I believe, is a very selfish thing. A lot of emotions get involved. You got to get out your emotions. You got to get out of that idea that you've served your purpose. No, you haven't. You still have a purpose. It's just not scheduled yet. It's not on the schedule. That's to be determined when you're useful or not. And I'm talking noble usefulness. So I'm trying to remember Hofmann, there's no man who is such a fool that he is useless. There's more to it, I know, but there is no man who is such a fool that is useless. Everyone is useful, right? I think he's talking to you have use. There is worth in your life, and stick it out, endure it, and learn the lessons that this life can teach you. Because that's why we're here. We're here to learn lessons. So if you just opt out of playing hooky in the lesson of life, you miss the actual goal of the whole lesson. bigger picture, the bigger story. I mean, like I said before, you just being here influences people to do better. Now, is there insurmountable odds? Is there things that are out of our control? Yeah, absolutely. It's how you deal with it, how you feel about it that matters. You know, I've like I said, I've met people that they lived in straw huts, no food, and they were just some of the most greatest souls I ever met in my life. They're willing to, you know, they just butchered a chicken and they're willing to give you the best portions of the meat while they gnaw on the bones. What? No. They got one glass of water left. They're willing to give you. They're willing to give you 3/4 of that glass. Sorry, I gotta get a little. Gotta make an opportunity. If I sit here and wait, nobody's gonna accommodate. Somebody will. Eventually somebody will say, hey, get over. That's how life works. It has meaning. That is the meaning of life. It has meaning. So look around our solar system. What is the meaning of Jupiter? What? I mean, yeah, it might hold some resources. Okay, all right. I'm finding meaning in things. I'm assigning meaning to stuff that normally is just a rock in the fucking solar system. It gobbles up planet-killing fucking asteroids with its massive gravitational force. One of these days, somebody's going to go there, one of us, and they're going to mine the shit out of that place. Creating more meaning and, you know. Suffering is common to all. It really is. There's different various degrees of suffering. Yes, you know, one person's suffering might be more than mine. Understandably. But the weight that we put on it, the amount of meaning that we put on that suffering matters. Some people destroy themselves, you know, for a cause and think nothing of it. There's no suffering. You know, that suffering is common to all. You know, the cessation of suffering. You know, stop doing things that cause you suffering. Stop feeling a certain way that create the suffering. Change your mind. You can literally change your mind. Happens all the time. I've done it a few times. Still doing it. I get to tell my mind what I want to think, what I want to learn. So that's what the mind does. And there's obsessive compulsive things that you can work yourself out of. I mean, there are autistic kids who cannot have a fucking conversation with anyone, yet they can do your taxes. They can contemplate cosmology and the trajectory of asteroids. You know, complex mathematical things. We have meaning, we have purpose. We just need to realize that. I mean, really, it is. You know, even if you're just a coolie, you know, running, you know, unloading and unloading trucks and shipments and things of that nature. You know, your life sucks. But you know what? You're strong. You're absolutely strong. Yeah, you're doing it for you've got no money, but you know what? You're a master economist because you know how to stretch a penny into a dime. Make something out of nothing. That's, you think about it, most people don't have that skill. They just, all right, well, life sucks. Moving on. Put my nose to the grind and, you know, continue to destroy my body for another decade. Retire, and die. Because now I have no purpose in life. That's why most people, when they retire, they most of them go back to work. They're like, man, I'm bored. I can only play golf so many times. You know, enjoy life. Well, what about the quality of your life? Is it so bad that you can't enjoy it? You can barely walk. You know, that's why the whole bettering yourself, you know, those self-help techniques, they bring you out of that stump. Get into working out. You know, a lot of self-deletion happens in prison. That happens, right? People find ways. There's help there, of course. There's people to talk to, and it's a very, very cruel place. But a lot of people find solace in working out, becoming stronger. Becoming the best version of themselves. There's always a purpose for each other, for all of us. We have a purpose. We just don't realize it. A lot of people just don't realize what your purpose is. And it changes, whatever that, you know, it changes from time to time. Wear many hats. Wear many hats. One day you're the engineer, next day you're the EMT. Yeah. Next day you're the coolie. Next day you're the therapist. Right? Sean, North Shore. Never look down upon someone unless you're helping them up. That's great advice. Life has meaning because we give it meaning. We either do things for selfish, for ourselves, or for others. And yeah, you can you can sacrifice everything for your job and be that purpose. I mean, I think about all the jobs I've done, man, and walked away from and left. I am still infamous there. Somebody still remembers me there. Like I set the standard too high when I left a lot of jobs. They're like, wow, you guys, and that newbie coming in goes, oh, you want this job? You got some big shoes to fill. Let's go. It affects everyone. I mean, you know, the manager, the boss, the supervisors, they're all like, well, yeah, he had these traits, didn't he? You know, yeah, he did. That's why he was badass? I think so. Right? Just had that giving yourself. Damn it, people are slamming on brakes for no damn reason. No, even if your purpose is to piss somebody off, like really, seriously, make them get outraged. You know, make them see a side, make them understand that this will not be tolerated. That's a purpose. Yeah, that's a purpose. Life sucks, and life is going to continuously be hard. But we find more and more ingenious ways on how to deal with the situation and how we feel about the situation. You know, like I said, our mind is a garden. We decide what we want to grow in it. And yeah, self-deletion is absolute selfishness. So stick around. There'll be a time when you're needed again. Till then, better yourself, whatever you need to do. Survive. Stick around to help others. There is no man that is such a fool that he is useless. There is so much in this world to hate. Absolutely hate, but we learn to hate. That's right, we learn to hate. Ignorance hates, so be smarter. Be smarter. Understand that there is a purpose in life. There is a meaning for your existence. We assign meaning to everything. Maybe that's what the universe needed. It needed us to get on the bus, get born, grow, experience, and assign meaning to everything. Assign meaning and value. Everything has meaning and value. I mean, you know, even that that nuclear fission fusion ball that has been going on, you know, at the center of our solar system. We are just at the right distance from it that life exists. And so one of our goals as human beings, as life on this planet, is to survive, thrive, and to carry on the legacy of life. Even though like these planets have meaning, we assigned them meaning. I assigned it meaning to Jupiter. I don't, even if there's no life there, which I'm pretty sure there's no life there that we can ascertain. There's no love there. There is love on this planet. I don't see any love anywhere else. Everywhere else, I just see death. An extremely hard time. Things are bad now. Go to Venus. Their atmosphere is like 700 degrees. Breathing fucking sulfuric acid. I mean, it's bad. Mercury is so hot there that you would just instantly vaporize. Float off into the ether. Yes, the meaning of life is life has meaning. And it's profound. So carry on with life. Give your life meaning. Because it does. There's meaning there. So I thank you all for hanging out with me for this Zoot Report. Don't be discouraged. There's more work to do. There's always something to do. So carry on with life. Live a meaningful, purposeful life. And try to live as long as you can. This has been Mad Shad. Another Zoot Report. Let's go.